Before this story ends, you'll understand how one quiet decision can rewrite not just one life, but two, especially through the unseen strength of motherhood. Daniel Cross wasn't meant to be out that night. As the CFO of a rapidly growing tech company, his world was built on schedules, earnings calls, and glass-walled penthouses. But loneliness doesn't respect success. After another silent dinner, overlooking a glittering city that felt strangely cold, Daniel chose to walk just to feel human again. That's when he noticed her. Inside a small convenience store, a young mother stood frozen at the counter, clutching a can of baby formula as if it were fragile glass. She looked exhausted in a way only mothers understand, the kind that sinks into your bones. Her jacket was thin, her hair pulled back without care, and her eyes carried a familiar mix of panic and shame. The cashier gently slid the formula back toward her. Her card had declined. "Again, I'm sorry," the woman whispered, her voice breaking. "I'll put it back." Daniel watched as she turned slowly, every step heavy. She paused, rested her forehead against the shelf for just a second, then carefully returned the formula. That's when he saw the baby in the stroller beside her, fast asleep, unaware that his next meal had just disappeared. Something inside Daniel cracked open. He remembered his own childhood. His mother skipping meals, smiling so he wouldn't worry. Love without money, strength without recognition. "Excuse me," Daniel said quietly. She turned, startled. "I think you dropped this." He picked up the formula, placed it on the counter, and slid his card forward before she could stop him. "You don't have to," she said, tears rising instantly. "I know," Daniel replied softly, "but I want to." Outside, she apologized over and over, as if accepting help made her weak. Daniel learned her name was Maria. Her son's name was Leo. She worked night shifts at a nursing home, was raising her baby alone, and was still waiting on child support that never came. Formula prices had risen. Her pay hadn't. They went their separate ways, but the moment stayed with Daniel. He returned to that store again and again. Days passed before he saw her once more, this time outside the nursing home, rocking Leo in the early morning cold. She looked so tired, yet fiercely devoted. They talked, then talked again. Slowly trust formed. Maria shared her story growing up in foster care, dreaming of becoming a nurse, reading parenting advice on borrowed Wi-Fi. Daniel shared his own success, built on sacrifice, a failed marriage, a life full of noise but empty of warmth. When Maria received an eviction notice, Daniel resisted the urge to simply fix things with money. Instead, he listened. He helped her budget, connected her with housing support, watched Leo during interviews. He showed up not as a rescuer, but as someone who cared. Motherhood tested Maria constantly. Her car broke down. Leo got sick. Sleep was rare, but she never quit. Months later, she secured a better job. Daniel helped expand a company program supporting single parents. On the day Maria signed the lease for her new apartment, she cried not in despair, but in relief. On Leo's first birthday, they sat on the floor of Maria's small but warm home. Cake smeared Daniel's tie. Laughter filled the room. And Daniel finally understood something profound. Motherhood is courage no one applauds. Loneliness isn't healed by wealth, but by connection. And sometimes, changing everything begins with noticing a mother who refuses to give up. Subscribe for kindness, K for kindness, where stories of motherhood, compassion, and humanity remind us that love still shows up when we choose to see.